it's 8 o'clock, that's the appointed start time, so I'm gonna start. Welcome everybody to this. Well, we've done many online retreats on Zoom over the last 12 months, and certainly Facebook Lives as well. But this is the first of ones that are just purely dedicated to spiritual inquiry, and this was a little bit of a trial that we discussed at the end of the last retreat. So we'll see how it goes. We've got 3 dates booked. I'm away the following week, and depending on how it goes, we'll see how we get on after that. So yeah, what I wanted to do, I mean, hopefully you've all had chance to watch the short video, The Essence of Spiritual Inquiry. And if you haven't, it'll be a good idea to watch it afterwards. But it really all boils down to, and I'm just going to briefly summarize that now, the answer to the question, who am I? Who am I? And following up from that, an insight I want to offer you straight away is, as that question is explored fully, it goes like this. Who am I? The question dissolves the questioner, and the self is realized. And what that means is that it's the identity I as the body-mind experience that we think and believe is all that there is to life is actually not who we really are. And it's the dissolution of that belief and the realization of infinite silence or infinite awareness or infinite consciousness. That is the realization of the self. So every question that we're exploring tonight, we'll be looking, I always come at it from who is it that's got that question, and instantly you can see where the issues are. But what I'd like it to do, just to open up before we go straight to questions, is just have a briefest of meditations, just to kind of help open you up to awareness a little bit. So I'm just going to suggest you just close your eyes for a moment. And as you close your eyes, just being open to these pointings. Everything that's appearing here right now, whether it be a thought, an emotion, a physical sensation, or indeed any other phenomena, all of them simply appear. A moment ago, an emotion, for instance, may not have been here, and then it can arrive and arise like a wave. And you can either become the emotion or watch the emotion. And if you simply watch, it will pass. And that's true of all phenomena. There are appearing and disappearing. And there's a presence and awareness that is able to see and witness all of that. And to open you up to that a little bit more, just ask the question inside now. Who am I? Who am I? And just staying with that. Asking the question in a new way now. Who am I without memory? Who am I without memory? without. 'Memory. 'Without. 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 'Memory. 'W And just be with that for a moment or two. Good. So this witnessing awareness that sees all of the phenomena arising, this is the one to associate with. Everything else is simply an appearance. And notice that this witnessing presence is untouched, unmoved, and unblemished by the various phenomena which are coming and going. Good. So whenever the moment is right for you, just gently opening your eyes now. So I just wanted to kick off proceedings with that, and also I should have said welcome to you from all over the world, right away from the land down under in Straya to United States and various places across the UK, and I think also Germany and Sweden. So we've got lots of different countries represented, and it's a delight to be with you all here. So this is all dedicated to questions and inquiry. So if anybody either wants to, as a direct question or something that they want to share from that exercise, then please pop your hand up now. There's a reaction button you can put up, and Jolene will look out for that. And if anybody's typing a written comment, because I know that there's one or two people who are in noisy backgrounds who can't have camera on, then just type your comment into the chat box and we'll pick it up there. So if anybody's ready to share something, ask something, then now's your chance. Yeah, I'm not sure who was first, Christine or Anita, but...
Oh, I'll go with Christine because that's the one I saw first.
Okay.
Okay. There you go, Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Okay. Hiya. So this isn't something that's just come up from that exercise. This is something that actually came up earlier in the week. And I just felt, before we started this, about half an hour ago, to share it and to speak about it. And so there's been a deeper seeing. This is much deeper than anything else, any other seeing that I've experienced up to now.
Good.
And it's deeper than space, if you know what I mean by that.
Makes sense to me, yeah.
It's beyond space. And this seeing took place over about 2 days. I've not experienced this before. And so it kind of, I'm not going to say it disappeared because that is the wrong word to use, but it, like I say, it lasted pretty much for 2 days.
Do you want to ask anything about that, or would you like me to just respond to that?
I think I kind of just really, well, I feel like I want to say more about it, but I can't say any more than that. That's what it was.
Okay.
And it was, I've experienced before about probably about maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, space, this vast, infinite space within. And it just felt like it was expanding and expanding and expanding. But this particular seeing that I'm speaking about now, this wasn't that.
No.
It wasn't the same. It was beyond that.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll respond to that then. What you're describing and the vibe that I pick up from that, this was the seeing, the silence. The fact when you use the word beyond space, before time.
Yes.
Beyond the beyond. No phenomena. You see, in the previous one you described 3.5 years ago or whatever it was, there was still a phenomena there, a vast, expansive type phenomena.
Mm.
But this, the infinite silence, the infinite consciousness, is beyond and before all phenomena. Yet phenomena appear within it. So time, space, form, beingness, contrast are all necessary for experience, for phenomenal experience. So there has to be, like there has to be silence for sound to appear, it's like this. So it sounds to me like this was a recognition, a realization. And this is very auspicious. And it's not so much that you talked about it like the let's put it this way, the experience unfolded for 2 days. It's not that it goes anywhere, it's just that witnessing presence becomes the more normal or more natural, it would be a more accurate way, place of seeing from, witnessing from. And the body that you have, it's a woman's, it's an appearance within that. And as part of that, there's a seeing and a recognition normally, a clarity that, yes, this body is here, but I am not that. Was that part of your seeing?
Not exactly. It's really hard to.
Yeah, I understand.
It's like, because it is beyond words. I know I always say this, but sometimes it is very often beyond description, beyond words. It's true to say that there was no phenomena there, like you mentioned about, this with the vastness of space, the experience of infinity, if you like. But there was nothing else there.
Good. Then this is very auspicious, and don't try to question it from the mind. Rather be with it and recognize it for what it is. Embrace that, and the rest will flower naturally from there.
I knew that it was me. I knew that there was something there that obviously can't be put into words really, but
you were that.
And yes, exactly.
That being nameless, formless, timeless, spaceless. Yeah.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Rest with that. That is, just let that settle. Don't try and question it. Just let whatever arises, needs to arrive. And it will. And it may still be that things come up to be seen, emotions, energy, whatever, but let all of those appearances appear and trust only this, and everything else flows effortlessly from there. Is that okay for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that is as auspicious as it gets from what I hear. You can trust this. Trust this. And the trust is then becomes the knowing. Yeah. Perfect. What a way to
Thank
start.
you.
What a way to... Good. Okay. So if that's okay for you, Christine, we'll put you on mute now and go to Anita, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Just before you do, Philip, can I just say, like, after what Christine's just said, I often get a sense of what people are feeling. What could be coming up now is, I haven't had that. What does that mean for me? Am I supposed to have that? So that might
Just for everybody else, you're saying,
yeah.
And the response to that before we go to Anita is, you are that. Only your mind might be saying that. It might also be saying, when's it going to happen to me?
Yeah.
Or is it possible for me? Or things like that. All this is mind stuff. The awareness is ever present. It never goes anywhere and never went anywhere. And there was never a time when you were not this. And it appears in life, appears in front of us as a process. But if we can open to this possibility, then that realization inevitably flowers. And it may take some time to anchor, as I call it, to itself, in itself. But you are that. You are that already. So let's go to Anita now.
Yeah. Should be able to. Yeah, you're unmuted now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Hi. My question is, how do you balance your spiritual life and your 3D life?
Okay.
Do you put boundaries, or is it not necessary anymore for you? And how do you deal with resistance? If I feel resistance towards something, for instance, with coronavirus, when people come too close, I feel discomfort. Am I allowed to seek distance and to ask them for distance, or is that counterproductive?
Sure. Okay. There's a few questions there, so let's pick them up. And if I don't pick them all up, remind me. So, balancing the spiritual, I think the words you used were spiritual life and the three-dimensional life. So the key to this is to understand that it's not to create a false separation. And that's what the mind will try to do. All of life is spiritual in all of its expressions. And if we sort of place a sort of this kind of idea, well, here's my spiritual life and here's my normal three-dimensional life, then we're creating an experience of separation when actually life is one indivisible whole. So the key is integrating what we call spiritual practice, things like meditation, events like this and so forth, into our lives so that it becomes very much part of it and not separate from the rest of the human experience. Because if you believe that they need to be separate, then you're basically creating a belief in separation, and you're only going to suffer as a result of that. So see life all as one indivisible whole. Now, it's also true, and I'm sure many people have experienced this, is that as you're opening up to the flaring of spiritual self-realization, the fact of the matter is that as it stands on the planet now, probably the vast majority of the planet has no idea about that. And that's not neither good nor bad. It is what it is. It is a function of where human consciousness is. It doesn't mean that those people who aren't alive to this yet aren't that. It's just that enough awareness hasn't arisen for this to appear in their reality at the moment. But it can, and it will, at the time that's right for them. So it can be, shall we say, one has to meet, one useful pointing here then is to really meet people where they are, because you can't thrust this spiritual self-realization upon anybody. And actually, if you tried, you're likely to meet one of the other words you used, which was a lot of resistance. The reason for that is because it challenges people's fundamental beliefs about who they are. I am this body-mind. And if they're a religious person, then it will challenge their religious beliefs and so forth as well. So it's not an effective strategy to sort of kind of go thrusting it upon the world. But what you'll find is as you open up to it yourself and deepen into awareness yourself, a resonant field is created where, shall we say, a different tribe may come into play. It doesn't mean you need to get rid of all the other people in your life. It may be that some of that happens naturally, and you don't need to worry about that. But it will be, you'll find that other people who are in a similar resonant space will start to appear. So I don't advise separating the two. What I'm suggesting and pointing to is integrating. And accepting that, yes, it certainly appears that most of the population of the planet isn't in this space at the moment. That's okay. Doesn't mean they're wrong and you're right. It just is what it is. With regard to the resistance, dealing with resistance, that was another question you raised. When resistance arises, I mean, it can depend on the specific circumstances, but if it's a resistance to awareness, then this is a phenomenon that's arising, usually a felt phenomena in the body. And like all phenomena, it's an appearance on what I call the green screen of consciousness. It's like a wave. 1 minute there was no resistance, and then resistance arises. If you simply allow that experience of resistance to be there fully and felt fully and witnessed in the trusting of this unchanging awareness, you'll find, in fact, that effortlessly it just dissolves of its own accord. The light of awareness is shining upon it and will simply dissolve it. No effort required on your part. And to explore this more fully, I don't know if you've seen it or not, Hirsi, but I'll mention it to everybody. There's 2 live streams that are worth looking at in relation to resistance. And resistance is just a form of fear, ultimately. Live stream 11 on my YouTube channel, Transmuting Fear into Love. I've also added the words dissolving emotions into that title recently. It explains what I've just said there in full. And the effortless part about trusting in the effortlessness of awareness. I forget what live stream number it is. It might be 30 or something like that. But there's one called Effortless Grace, and that's also worth a watch. So people might want to have a look out for that. But you also spoke about kind of the present situation with COVID-19, coronavirus and so forth, and the respecting of space, and we're all being told to socially distance and all the rest of it for safety reasons and so forth. Now, there may be various reasons why kind of anxiety arises or resistance arises in those situations, partly because, listening to all the evidence and so forth, it clearly is a good idea to take precautions. But there may also be a deeper reason, spiritually speaking, for an anxiety and a fear arising in such a situation. And indeed, that reason is ultimately the biggest fear that humanity has, and that is sitting front and centre stage right now with the present situation of the world. And that fear is the fear of death. Indeed, all fears that arise ultimately stem from that one fear. It may manifest in many and varied forms and appear quite small and subtle in some cases and very big in others. But actually all fear comes down to that. So whilst we look to others to respect our personal space and things like social distancing, guidance and all the rest of it, if something is triggered in you energetically in such a situation, then that, like all phenomena, like the resistance phenomena, is actually an invitation from within to feel that fully, to witness it and let it dissolve. It's saying there's something that you're carrying around here that no longer serves you, and the way through this is to face it head on, feel it, but just simply allow or trust the power of awareness, and that power of awareness will effortlessly dissolve that fear. And this can come in small steps, big ways, small ways, it doesn't really matter. Just as the invitation arises, let it arise, witness it, trust the awareness, and effortlessly it will dissolve. So let's go back to Anita to see if I've picked up on all your various facets to your questions there.
That's basically it, more or less. It's just like this question, is it a good idea if I feel the fear coming up in that situation where someone is too close? Is it a good idea to seek in that moment to distance myself and then go into myself? Or should I stay in the situation? Because in that situation, I am actually in physical danger. Sure. Wouldn't it be better to distance myself and then go inside of me?
Yeah, I think whether it's a COVID-19 situation, which is the one you described, or somebody's about to stab you, it might be a good idea to move physically. There's one has to be, should we say, practical and use common sense. And if somebody is deliberately encroaching on your space, then it would clearly be sensible and common sense to take a step to one side and then face the situation. Similarly, if somebody's about to hit you, you're probably going to want to move. But notwithstanding the practicalities of taking a reasonable precautions in terms of one's life, then in that moment where you can, and the moment is right, you've stepped away, you've gone somewhere else or whatever, it's likely that energy, that fear will still be there. Then face it, feel it fully as soon as you can. Don't run away from it, but trust the awareness. Does that cover it for you?
Yes, and then touching on that or piggybacking on that, how is it with resistance? Say I feel resistance to do a certain chore in that moment, like I should wash my clothes, but right now I don't feel like it. I feel resistance. Is it okay to just give myself the permission not to do that in that moment and feel till I'm ready? Wait.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's part of the not human experience, that isn't it? There are certain things we like to do and some things we don't. But I think you know we can give ourselves a hard time whether we're on the path of spiritual self-realization or not. And actually, usually, just as a sort of kind of spiritual pointing there, the one that's must, ought to, should, saying you should do this or you should do the other and you ought to do this, that's the mind. And you're not that. So that also can be witnessed. That also can be witnessed. So when that arises and you sort of sense that, just simply watch that should and that ought to. And see that actually it's mind trying to tell you how you should. It thinks you should be living. And that is not awareness. If on the other hand, and I'm sure you've had this, you suddenly get an inspiration whilst you're in the shower one morning to do something completely different, and it feels light, inviting, expansive, joyful, uplifting. This is coming from awareness. The energy of the two is very different, and you'll know that energetically because you've had that experience. I'm certain of it. Everybody has.
Yeah, the ego thing is like a stone, a rock, like you're a balloon, and the ego is kind of holding you down.
Yes.
Like an anchor on a ship is holding you in a place.
Yes.
Whereas the awareness feels like letting go of the rock and just floating.
Exactly. Yeah. This is quite a good analogy. Yeah. So any phenomena that's contracting, must, should, or this is all mind stuff, witness. Expansive, inviting, uplifting, joyful, this is awareness. Notice in the body the difference between the two and choose the higher one. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you, Anita.
I think we've got Julie, have we?
Yeah, just a little thing from Ali in the chat box that says, for me, I feel joy with this, and for Christine. So I think she means what Christine was describing.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
I'll unmute you now, Julie.
Thank you. Hi, hiya.
Julie.
So I feel like things have moved quite fast, but I'm struggling to separate the two. So I feel like sometimes I'm in the world like that everybody else is in.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm in where I like to be, but I find it quite physically exhausting and get headachy.
When you're in the kind of...
Yeah. I think because then I start to question it, then my ego comes in and I start to question it, like, am I going mad? And I think when you're around a lot of people who aren't thinking that way or aren't at that conscious level, that's quite hard as well.
Okay.
But when I'm in the place where I like to be, like, it's like almost like things, you worry because you're not worried about things. So I think that's why I give myself headaches. I'm thinking, why do I feel so free and like I don't feel guilt anymore? And then I think, oh, hang on a minute, because worry has been a habit all my life. So I'm almost like flipping between the two, like you said, that it all merges together. I'm like, these like two different, I'm like flipping between the two, I feel.
Sure. Okay. Let's just keep you on air for a moment. So this flipping sort of from one world to another, kind of state of being free and not worrying, and then this kind of appearing to be lost. Even that.
Sorry, Philip, to interrupt, but I feel quite lonely sometimes as well, like, you know.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's pick that up as well then. But interestingly, those phenomena, this world, have both been seen and reported. Was what saw that touched by that change?
No.
No. Good awareness. So, which seems or feels or do you sense is the one to be trusted?
When I'm relaxed and I'm not time watching and my day's flowing and I just trust myself and just trust life.
Yeah. So that awareness that sees both the stress appearing and also notices pleasant sensations in the body when there's a relaxedness, a freeness and so forth, that remains untouched and unmoved always. The one where it feels light, fresh, free, then that is the moment in which there's a trust in that awareness. In the other moment where there's stress appearing and challenge and finding it difficult, and also you added feeling lonely, that's all mind stuff and buying into and believing that to be so, even though that awareness is still there. And the more charge you put into that by going with the train of thought, believing this to be the case, the more intense that experience will get, and it's not surprising you get a headache. However, at the first sign of that kind of thing coming onto the scene, so to speak, and you will notice it, and you'll get better at this as time goes on, that's the point to stop. This is also applicable to Anita's question. That's the point to stop, to look at it from awareness and to listen. And you'll notice that the arising stress levels, if you do stop in that moment and look and listen and trust only awareness, the wave, rather than going up here, may actually only get to this level and then fade away. Now, the one that feels lonely, again, this is quite a common question, especially as you start to open into the flowering of spiritual self-realization, partly because of the fact that the matter is that there's relatively few people in the world at the moment opening to this, but the numbers are increasing rapidly, and it's probably at a greater point than any time in history, so that's great news. The one that's feeling lonely is always the identity I. And that is also a phenomenon. It's us feeling small, feeling isolated. Yeah. Now that
I'm just very, very thankful for like this,
yes.
and because I think I would think I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And like I have got like my auntie who's very much like on that same level as me. So I'm lucky that I've got her to speak to, because we kind of know, like if other people listen to us, they'd probably think, what are they talking about? But sure. I think just having like a couple of people in my life.
Yeah. So that loneliness, if it were here now, that a felt sensation, then when that arises, this is also an invitation. It can be watched, felt fully, but trust only the power of awareness. And you'll see that phenomena, which is simply an appearance on the green screen, will dissolve. Will dissolve. It won't require, so take that not as a challenge, but as an invitation. As an invitation. And what you'll find is loneliness and alone will turn into all oneness. An extra L's gone into the word there. Alone has turned into all one. And the all oneness is the infinite silence or the infinite consciousness itself. So this is it's actually an important invitation, this feeling lonely, because in truth, that experience is always going to be there until there's a fully and truly deeply anchored realization.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's another facet of the invitation to self-realization. It's saying, you're hanging on to this idea that I am just this body, mind, and all these other people out here don't understand me.
Yeah.
Whereas actually the invitation is to just simply be with that, feel it fully, trust the awareness and watch it dissolve.
Yeah.
Does that help you, Julie?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Good. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
I think we've got, is it Stefan now?
Yeah. There you go, Stefan.
Oh, thank you. I would just like to comment on something that Anita said about that with doing the laundry. I remember that because I had an episode a couple of years ago. I was not into cycling every day. And one morning I said, okay, I should go cycling. And there was just resistance to it. And then I thought, okay, but then what would I like to do instead? I was very surprised when the answer came to me, I want to go cycling. And it came from some other place. I had a really enjoyable bicycle ride, but I was so surprised that it was the same thing, but it came from somewhere else. So what I really would like to say this with doing the laundry is wait until it feels exciting to do it, and because that comes from awareness at the right time. Like it was for me bicycling. I shouldn't force myself to do it. I should just allow myself to do it. That was the difference.
Perfect. Brilliant. I like it. Yeah. That's exactly the same situation that Anita was describing. And awareness was saying, actually, it's actually quite exciting to go cycling, but mind was, you know, in the way you were describing it. So it's a great example. And that's why I said to Anita to witness that should, must, ought. Look at it directly, feel it fully. And you might be surprised because you might end up with a Stefan type situation, because as that is witnessed and faced and dissolved, the laundry might be the most exciting thing right now. And this could be a surprising thing, as it was to go cycling for you.
Well, a really interesting thing, it was about 10 seconds between the two choices.
Yeah.
It was not an hour or so, it was just directly after.
Perfect, yeah. So that's awareness speaking, and you listened, and so that's showing you and everybody that it never went anywhere. It just, in that situation, Stefan just took enough time to pause and stop and say, well, what is it that awareness is seeking to express now? And actually, it was cycling. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. That's brilliant.
Thanks, Stefan. I've got a private message from Dee, if you want me to go there.
Yeah.
So she said, I don't feel like I can communicate clearly currently. Words feel clumsy and disordered, and I'm finding if I don't meditate at least 2 to 3 times a day, Dee and her body get irritated and tired easily. Some days, where am I? Oh, there's some more messages. I'm finding if I don't, words feel clumsy, Dee and her body. I see that all serves a purpose.
Yeah.
I don't like affecting others with mood swings. It makes it sad, I think she means.
Okay.
Like I've got a split personality. I see that I'm clearing, but wonder why I now need to meditate so much and no longer feel merged in bliss anymore.
Okay. There's a few different things there, but you can certainly, as the identity that we've so been attached to, the belief that all I am is the body-mind, starts to dissolve, and you've been experiencing that for quite some time now, Dee, and for everybody's benefit, I'm kind of speaking from that space, and there have been quite deep seeings. There comes a sort of phase as that identity and the belief in it is dissolving, and this sort of there can be a flitting back and forth, as Julie described as well. But the identity will like to hang on for dear life. And it's been so used to being in charge, so to speak, the body-mind experience, that as it's being moved off centre stage and awareness is coming to the fore, the identity, can and will start to feel very confused. And there'll be times where it appears like you've been taken, to use a computer analogy, offline. And you don't appear to be able to sort of, shall we say, function in the normal world. These are times when integration is taking place. And if mind is confused, let confusion be there, because confusion is the step before clarity. So don't overly stress about not being able to articulate yourself in, say, writing or words in these phases. There's a deepening and an integration that's taking place. Let it happen. Know that also, the confusion, the lack of clarity and so forth, is also an appearance to be witnessed, to be seen, and it too will dissolve. And because we've all been so used to living, shall we say, lives of constant activity, mind will also be trying to persuade you at various points that you ought to be doing certain stuff, when awareness is calling you to just simply be still and be life. So and if you have the opportunity to embrace that, and I realise that, people still want to live and work and all those things, but where you can, take those opportunities to meditate 2-3 times a day if necessary. Do that. If you're feeling that calling, then follow that and go with that. There's an old saying, it might be a Zen saying, if you've got a busy day ahead of you, I'm not sure where it comes from now, but it might be Zen, meditate for an hour. And if you've got a really busy day ahead, meditate for 2 hours. What that means is that if you really did meditate for 2 hours and sat within the stillness, the silence, all of those things that you thought were really busy, important things in your life that you had to get done today, actually probably 90% of them weren't really that urgent, and you were just telling yourself, or you're believing yourself, that was the case. You'll start to realize what's truly important in life, which is opening and flowering ultimately to this. So it sounds to me like you're going through a deepening phase, Dee, and that lots of programming and conditioning about doing, ought tos, needing to be clear and all the rest of it is coming up to be seen and to be dissolved. So let all that happen. Don't fight it. Just simply witness and keep on meditating. Have I covered all the different elements there? Because we kind of had a slight break in the question. I just wanted to make sure I've picked up on everything.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets irritated and tired easily. Some days flow more than others.
Okay. Yeah, so the irritation is mind stuff wanting things to be different than how they are. Yeah, in fact, mind's always doing that. It's wanting life to be appearing differently than it is right now. So the irritation is simply another facet of invitation to accept what's here. So feel that irritation completely, utterly, and totally, and witness it, and it will dissolve. Awareness will never be irritated. Mind, essentially, is always irritated. It's just a matter of degree. Just a matter of degree. So hopefully that covers it for you, Dee.
If you need to say anything, just put in there and I'll pick up on it. You want me to move on?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So Patty said, wow, I really resonated with what she's feeling. I've been feeling the same way. Thank you, Philip, for explaining that.
Okay. Your sound is going a bit, Jolene. So.
How is it?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, go on now. Yeah.
It's saying my internet connection's unstable.
Oh, okay.
So Dee's now with, wow, a lot of tears have come up. I'm very emotional, lots of tears, and also some internal laughter. Thank you. That makes sense. Lol, I need to let go of mind. Yeah.
Indeed. So the internal laughter is from what you've described there, is a seeing, a recognizing of what's being pointed at from the awareness within. And the tears, is part of the energetic shift. So embrace all of that. Let all of that be felt. Let all of that be seen. Don't judge it. Don't analyze it. Simply allow it to be. It's all appearing in front of awareness. And by trusting that awareness, all of those phenomena will drop away effortlessly. You won't need to do anything. See, that's the whole thing about self-realization. People talk about how do I get there? When do I get to this mythical point on the journey? And the fact of the matter is, you get there by realizing you're already there. But the you that realizes isn't the identity, it's the awareness as awareness. Your body-mind experience will still be here on the screen of consciousness, but you'll recognize that actually there's never been a time that you've not been infinite silence or infinite consciousness. That's the realization. One is already that. All are already that. And although we use a spiritual practice, such as meditation, it becomes ultimately a practiceless practice. It's a bridge to a realization that one is the living meditation, the living silence, the living awareness, the living consciousness. So the irony about self-realization is that there's nothing you have to do, but embracing a practice and awareness-based meditation, such as the infinite silence meditation, will allow that which is already present to flower. And it's simply like a bridge. You're crossing a bridge, realizing that actually you are already on the other side. You were just using this as a tool on an apparent journey to realize this awareness that was already here. Yeah. It's ultimately so simple, and mind will tell you it's not that simple, but it is. In fact, it's before even simple or difficult as a concept. It just simply is. Like that. But don't beat yourself up either, be gentle, be gentle. So we've probably got time for maybe one or two more before has anybody got anything burning?
Dee said some more if you want me to.
Yeah, go
on. Yes, there is an awareness of always being, beingness and isness. But others telling me I'm changing, it's difficult to explain. Do I just keep quiet and not explain?
Yeah, probably short answer to that is, without knowing the specifics of your situation, if we're talking about people for whom this would be so far, it would be like the other side of the galaxy, then trying to articulate something that is beyond mind's comprehension is probably not going to be very effective, and it's probably going to fall on deaf ears. So I don't think there's any need to, in quotes, explain yourself. You just maybe a more effective strategy is to say, I'm okay, thank you. Thank you for your concern and your care. I appreciate it, but really, I'm okay. Without going into more detail of the specifics, this would be a more effective approach for you. You've nothing to prove to yourself or anybody. Full stop. You have nothing to prove. You've no need to explain yourself on this journey. Obviously, in normal practical living, there are certain things where we might need to do that. If the police officer stops you whilst driving down the road at 60 miles an hour and it's only a 30 mile, then you probably are going to have to explain yourself. But in as far as this is concerned, there's no need to explain yourself. It's your journey, it's your life. And reach for help, use discernment, and reach to those that are opening and are aware, and it will be in a more effective place then. It's not about being right or wrong or others. It's just that there's a lot. The fact is, in a lot of life at the moment, there isn't that much awareness of this, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make those people wrong and you right. It's just where they are. Somebody could be walking down the street tomorrow and have a monumental shift in awareness. It's like that, it can happen anytime, any place, anywhere. So how are we doing? Anybody else got any?
I can't see anything else unless anybody wants to add anything.
Anita's got another question, so we'll go to her then. Yeah.
There you go.
Hi, my question is to that question you asked earlier, who am I? I don't have an answer to that.
Perfect.
Everybody, when you ask them, who are you, they can give you a whole list of their personality. And I feel that whenever I even try to nail down who I am, I'm having a life experience that shows nope. I'm definitely not that. It's all just labels, but there's always exceptions to every label. And my answer, I don't know if that's weird or normal, is that I don't have an identity. I just am.
Good. So we're starting to get really, so that who am I meditation is a very, very powerful meditation, as a number of you have experienced before. And particularly when you add the second part, without memory, because what that does is takes away the mind's ability to go to the identity and the belief systems in there. The ultimate answer to the question, who am I, or who am I without memory, is infinite silence or infinite consciousness or infinite awareness. And that is no thing. Yet it's infinite. It's unlimited awareness that's aware of itself as awareness. The identity as the lady in the form of Anita, the body is something that you have, like you have a car, but it is not that which you are. But it's the vehicle through which this infinite awareness, this infinite consciousness or infinite silence has chosen to express and experience itself. And so we can embrace the form of Anita, Jolene, Christine, Michelle, John, or what, Rabton. We can embrace that, but in the knowing that actually we are life itself, infinite consciousness, expressed in infinite variety. And without this expression, it doesn't get to experience. There are no phenomena in the infinite silence. And so life is constantly flowing in its expression, and its purpose is to come to know itself in its own experience. And so life becomes its own purpose and its own meaning. This life, this universal life, has chosen to express and experience itself in your form, my form, all our forms, this planet, the solar system, the galaxy, the entire universe, all at once. It places no limits upon itself, and yet it is all of that and none of it and more. You know, we can't limit what it is. It's just life, and it's not just limited to this vehicle, as beautiful as the human form is, and it is beautiful. So thank you for sharing that, Anita. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Good. Okay, so we'll put you back on mute then. So how we...
It's a little thing from D. That makes me feel more relaxed. Permission feels like it's been given, so I don't need to explain, lol.
Good, yeah. Yeah, we're always given this idea that we need to explain ourselves, aren't we? And we don't. So, okay, so we've been going just about the hour, which is about the kind of time I'd allotted for this. So we've got this week, next week, and the week after booked. And I'd just like to just get a sort of general, you can just wave your hand or whatever. Has this format thus far been useful to you? I'm just kind of interested to hear from if there's a thumbs up or a wave, or it's okay, good. It's getting generally a confirmatory response to that. So good. I'm glad that it is. Thank you for that, Ali, all the way from down under. So we'll continue the process next week. But remember, you know, if stuff comes up, it comes up for it to be seen, to be witnessed, not as a challenge, as an invitation. And if you can embrace that, that's a game changer. And trust the power of the awareness. Watch live stream 11. It's quite old now. Have you posted those links, Jolene, by the way, yet? Have you?
Just put them on now, some announcements.
So there's two things just coming into the chat now. One is a link to the new meditations only website. It's called staroflight.org. Those are the three principal meditations I use. The Spheres of Light one is the first part of the Infinite Silence meditation. Very powerful meditation in its own right, and is a bridge to the full Infinite Silence realization. The Open Gaze, some of you have experienced with me, very powerful open-eyed meditation, again part of the Infinite Silence meditation. And then there's the Alchemy of the Spirit page, which is the Transmuting Fear into Love live stream 11, just the meditation part, professionally filmed. So use that as a resource, and then also look out for, in the not too distant future, probably in the next couple of weeks or so, I'm going to be releasing at least 60, not all in one go, two a week videos on YouTube. If you subscribe to the channel using the link provided there, they're going to be released probably a Tuesday and a Friday, and they're going to include spiritual inquiry questions. There's a backlog of about 60 yet to be launched for the next 30 weeks. So look out for those if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and there'll be anything from 3 minutes long to 30 minutes, I think, is the longest. So they're kind of a little top up you'll be getting twice a week on YouTube, all available free of charge, so look out for those. If you haven't already subscribed, then it's a good idea to do so. Was there something else I was going to mention, Jolene? I can't remember.
Yeah, about people coming for next week and the week after. John's already said that he will.
Yeah, okay, good. So some of you have booked for the full 3 weeks. Some of you, I think, only booked for 1 week, but might have intended for book for 3. If you only booked like 1, let us know if you want to be here for the following weeks. So please some of you did specify the dates, and we've got that. That's great. So just let us know if there's any question marks on that.
So I've got John, Monica, Anita, and Rab have said that they're coming for all 3. So
good.
Up to now.
Good. Brilliant. Okay, so I can't see anything else burning in terms of a question, so I'm going to close it shortly. Let's just literally finish with our eyes closed for a few moments again now. Recognizing that all phenomena are simply appearances, coming, going, changing, moving. Asking the question, who am I? Who am I? And then, who am I without memory? Who am I without memory? And just know that that is a simple and powerful meditation you can use anytime as you go about your day to bring you back to awareness. Use that. Use that. So with that, whenever the moment is right for you, just gently opening your eyes. And I want to thank you all from around the world. I forgot to mention the Caribbean. We also have the Caribbean here tonight as well, so we really are covering the globe. So from the land down under to all of us in the Northern Hemisphere, thank you so much for being here. Namaste, many blessings. Keep on meditating, and I look forward to seeing you all same time, same place, next Friday, 8 p.m. UK time. Thank you for being here, and thank you for making and sharing this, because everybody's question really is everybody else's question. And there are no silly ones when it comes to this. It's just too important, just too important. So thank you so much, and we'll say goodbye to you all now and see you all next week. And Jolene, should we just stay on a minute just to check in to see if there's any admin to pick up with?
Yeah. See you all next week.
If anybody wants to leave any further comments, just put them in the chat just now. Yeah.